Hey everyone, Jennifer Lee Chan here from NBC Sports Bay Area. It is Tuesday night. It's a little late. I've been working at my other job all day. So, a few updates. Chris Tabor, Carolina's interim head coach in 2023, has interviewed for the special teams coordinator position for the 49ers. So, Chris Tabor, he was a special teams assistant with the Chicago Bears, Cleveland Browns, assistant special teams coordinator and back to Chicago for a few years, 2018 to 2021, and then in Carolina, 22 and 23. So he was the interim coach in 23, and then the whole thing was kind of blown up, so to speak, and he spent 2024 not coaching at all. So, but he does have a ton of experience coaching special teams. I mean, from 2018 and before that. So, I mean, a guy that has a ton of experience special teams. He started coaching special teams, uh, Western Michigan in 2006, Utah State, 2002 to 2004. So a ton of experience, did not play in the NFL, but Chicago Bears, Cleveland Browns, Chicago Bears again, Carolina Panthers, and then interim head coach. I think sometimes, guys do that head coach interim thing and it just isn't their thing. And so they take some time off. And then also, if they're interim and then they get fired and maybe they aren't in that coaching cycle ahead of time, sometimes it's just, or sometimes, just want to take a year off. I'd like to take a year off. Um, More news on Robert Saleh. He has interviewed for the Jacksonville Jags position for their head coach. So potentially, I don't think Robert Saleh wants to come back as a defensive coordinator for the 49ers, but they're doing their due diligence by interviewing him for the position. Uh, Kind of weird for the Jags because you would think that with Trevor Lawrence being there, he's already had two offensive coordinators that you'd want to get an offensive minded coach there. But, Robert Saleh could go there, whip up the defense, make them better. So there's less pressure on Trevor Lawrence. So I can see it that way too. But if Robert Saleh does go to the Jags, he needs to get a really good offensive coordinator in there so that they can get Trevor Lawrence going because it has been a struggle for them. I thought Doug Peterson would actually do a pretty good job, but he didn't as well. I mean, just a tough, tough couple seasons there in Jacksonville. Yeah, I thought, with the way Doug Peterson flourished in Philadelphia, I thought it'd be better. But no, didn't happen. Trevor Lawrence has kind of struggled. Tough for a young guy to come in there and kind of be the face of the franchise, get thrown into it, as quickly as he was. So it just kind of is what it is. So as far as the Niners go, they have interviewed several coaches for the special teams coordinator position. It is Noah Polley for the offensive coordinator position. I don't think he's going to get the job, but I think it's a good FaceTime thing in front of Kyle Shanahan, which we talked about before. Chris Banjo, special teams coordinator, has interviewed for that. And then Jet Modkins, which is Curtis Modkins' son. He has interviewed for the special teams coordinator position as well. Chris Tabor, though, has a ton of experience. So maybe a guy that, they want a little bit more experience, that's where they go. But Jet Modkins, and Chris Banjo does have a lot of experience as a player, so just not a ton of experience as a coach. But sometimes that translates. Um, no other news other than that for the 49ers. It'll be interesting to see what happens. No other announcements, and they did confirm to Matt Mayoko about Chris Tabor interviewing, but they haven't actually formally announced it on the site yet. But they're going to do their due diligence, and I think, I got everybody riled up with the Sam Darnold versus Brock Purdy talk in the last video. I just think that, I wasn't specifically talking about Brock Purdy equals Sam Darnold. I'm just saying that those of you who are saying get rid of Brock Purdy for Sam Darnold, he's a better, sign him to a 1 year deal or whatever it is, it's I think that ship has sailed. Also, Sam Darnold, man, just tough last two games. I think he lost a lot of money because he was looking like he was, a star again. And those last two games, just, I think it's going to be hard for him to get a multi-year deal. I think it's, a lot of money was left on the table because I think teams are going to say, well, this is what happens when you're under pressure and you need to make a game-winning drive or win the game in the playoffs or, a game that gives you home field advantage and just couldn't do it. It sucks when that happens to a guy, and he admitted it after the game. It was, absolutely me. I needed to play better in those last couple games, and it's crazy when you think about the pressure that's on a guy who in 2 games could have lost millions of dollars, millions, multi-millions. Like he probably could have gotten a 2 year, I would say, I think he was making $10 million for the Minnesota Vikings. He could have probably gotten a 2 or 3 year deal worth 25, 30 million at least each year if he had really played well in the playoffs. But man, it's going to be tough now for him to get another deal other than something kind of similar to what he had. Obviously, I think the price will go higher, but I mean, got to play well when it counts. And it just didn't work out so well for um, Sam Darnold. But Brock Purdy, I saw a lot of your comments. Yes, the 49ers need to solidify an offensive line. Now, Brock Purdy was playing behind a patchwork offensive line for the last couple games. Trent Williams was out, Aaron Banks was out. I know Jake Brendel hasn't played his best football, but yes, they are going to need to get some more guys like Dominic Pooney, who, played well, especially at the beginning of the season. Now, Dominic Pooney was one of those guys who did hit the rookie wall a little bit, felt good physically, but he told me when I asked him that it was emotionally draining. Playing 20 something games is a lot for a guy coming out of college who only played 10 to 12 games in college, went straight to the combine preparation, then straight into OTAs. And don't forget, Dominic Pooney took the iPad home and listened and watched all of Chris Forster's installation videos from before. So he was prepping this entire time and then came in, did a bang up job, did a great job. But you saw it at the end of the season where there were a couple games where he didn't play as well, then he played better, then didn't play well. So Brock Purdy needs that consistency all the way through. I don't think he goes to tackle. Chris Forster said that he feels like he's a better guard. So Trent Williams, Trent Williams, John Lynch said that the his ankle is getting better. As just recently has gotten better after a long 5 week stint where it did not get better at all. It was a bone bruise or a bruise inside his ankle joint. So he is getting better. He is set to play for 2025. So there's two really good players right there. Dominic Pooney, Trent Williams on the left guard. I think they do need to get some young guys in there to try and get higher quality, protect Brock Purdy a little bit more so he doesn't have to run. Brock Purdy is a guy that can scramble, but if he can sit in the pocket and deliver the ball from point A to point B, I think that's obviously the best and most efficient way for the 49ers offense to succeed. So, yes, I do think they need to fortify the offensive line, but you look at what's happening in 2025. Brandon Ayuk should be back at some point. Um, Christian McCaffrey will be back probably week 1, I would think. He said his Achilles deal is completely 100% healed. He's 100% in the Achilles. He's nursing the PCL injury, the knee that happened in the Buffalo game, but I think he's going to be on schedule to play week 1. Ricky Pearsall is going to work off season with Brock Purdy. You've got Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. They need to get a deal done with George Kittle. They need to get a deal done with Jawan Jennings. Those two guys. Um, Brock Purdy and Dre Greenlaw. Those are my four. Um, so the 49ers offense could be really good next year. Could be really good. They just need to, yes, get an offensive line together that can protect their quarterback, and I think they'll be fine. All right, everybody. That's it for today, which is Tuesday. I have more time off on Wednesday, so I'll probably do an origin story then. So stay tuned. I'll bring it to you. All right, everybody have a good night.